Let's bring you this story. Part 2 of the Zondo report into state capture is out. The report recommending that law enforcement agencies must investigate and possibly prosecute several high-profile people with links to the controversial Gupta family. The report also put considerable focus on Transnet and the relationship between the Guptas and the former Minister Public Enterprises at the time, Mr. Malusi Gigaba. Our senior reporter, Aviwe Mtila, has been studying the report. It's a very thick one, but he's getting through it nice and easy, slowly, one day at a time. Aviwe, thank you very much for joining us now to unpack it further. Transnet, what's standing out about what the report has found?
Well, Bradan, you cannot mention Transnet without mentioning the three primary architects and implementers of state capture at the state-owned entities. The report names them as the former CEO Brian Molefe, the former CFO Anoj Singh, as well as Siyabonga Gama, who was reinstated, we do understand, at the insistence of former President Jacob Zuma, as well as then Public Enterprise Minister Malusi Gigaba. That raised, of course, a lot of eyebrows, given that back in 2009, Gama was sacked from the very role that he was then reinstated in as the CEO of TFR, given that he was facing a number of charges that could see him permanently dismissed. But of course, the former president, we do understand the report, pushed for him to be brought back at Transnet, and even vocal voices from the African National Congress, such as Jeff Khatebe, Siphiwe Nyanda, as well as the then General Secretary, Gwede Mantashe, were one of those advocating for Gama to be brought back. Now, we do understand that the recommendations that the police should, in fact, investigate the crime, a list of crime that are ranging from corruption, racketeering, fraud, just as well as negligence that happened in the period of 2010 to 2018. Around these three figures that have been mentioned as central at the corruption and rot that has been unearthed from Transnet. I just want to go through a list of just a summary of what they are accused to have been doing at Transnet. They say that they accepted cash bribes at the Gupta family compound, the famous Saxon World compound. They broke the PFMA Act numerous times, Bradams. They misled Transnet board about a multi-billion rand locomotive contract. They also deviated from the National Treasury procurement laws, as well as mismanaged Transnet finances with unjustified price increases. One such would be, of course, of those procurements of the locomotives, with one instance where they procured 1,064 locomotives to a bloated price of 54 billion rand, bloated by 16 billion more than the 38 billion that they were supposed to be acquiring it for. Just some of the rot that has come out in part 2 of this latest state capture report.
Very serious findings, those. I mean, just that list you've just read there for us, Aviwe. So what are the authorities doing about this, especially the law enforcement agencies? I mean, what action is being taken now?
Well, it's coincidentally a conversation that I had with the NPA just yesterday at the backdrop of this report being released, just finding out what has been done, even from the initial report that was released at the beginning of January and now this latest installment of the report. I've been told that there's a task team actually on the ground that's looking at the report, but no teeth really, Bradan, when it comes to people being arrested or any possible arrest at this stage. I'm told that that's something that, of course, will only happen possibly at the end of February. The Guptas, though, we do understand, still issues around Interpol bringing them back in the country. We do also know that at the end of February is when we're expecting the final installment, the third part of the state capture report, which will mark the end and basically the finalization of it in its entirety. Government said that it will not give public comment or even go into the matter before, of course, this all has been wrapped up and they've received all three installments of the report.
Thank you very much, Aviwe Mtila, for that update. The NPA is going to have its hands full. And by the way, they knew for months that this time was coming. Surely they should have been preparing and getting ready. Shamila Batoy should have been marshalling all her resources and getting all the soldiers in place, so to speak, to get going. We need to see consequence. The report is out there, the findings are there, the recommendations are there, of course, waiting for the president to act as well. But there's nothing to stop the NPA from beginning some of that law enforcement investigation. And